How?
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode to Snyder Fans Read Comics. This week is Absolute Batman number 5 and Absolute Superman number 5. I'm joined by Jerry from Comics Leagues as per usual.
What is going on?
Not much, man. It's been a while. It's been a month, but hey. But obviously, want to say hello to everyone in the chat. Firstly, hey Charlotte, how you doing? I'm doing well, by the way, Charlotte. Thank you for asking. Hey Phil, what's up, my dude? And what's up, CJH? Yes, your thumbnail has been used. Yes, it is. Welcome. All right, so let's kick this off, shall we? Shall we kick off with Absolute Superman, because considering the title is Escape from Krypton.
Okay, let's do this. So I will. There we go. So you just have to share it, and then we're good to go. All right. I don't know why it's on hush. Why did it go there? Oh, I know why. Because it moved to page 2. It's on single page. I'll go to all pages and then high quality. All right. Let us do this. So Absolute Superman number 5 by Jason Aaron. Look at that kick-ass cover right there. Yes.
It was very interesting to see the covers. It was very interesting to see how, like, I saw the variant covers very different to each individual minute.
Yep. So then we have, okay, it should be multiple pages. Okay. For some reason, Read Comics Online has been screwing up, sort of. So anyway. Oh, it's not doing this. All right, I guess I'll have to do multiple pages then. Because it's not, I need to log in to use all pages mode. Actually, you know what? Hang on one sec. I'll just go ahead and do that. Because I made an account. I just got to do that. All right. This must be new because they never once required this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do this. Absolute Superman number 5. Technical difficulties, folks. Okay, I'm going to reshare screen.
Okay.
All right. Absolute Superman number 5. So we open up. This is essentially the what's the word? The fall of Krypton, in other words, because the planet has been exposed by Clark, Colm Clark, using his journalistic powers. Now everyone knows that Krypton is exploding, as compared to last previously, where the science council that runs the society knew that the planet was blowing up and they were trying to save only the elite.
So sorry, go on.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that when I read this first panel, I was just thinking, how's he gonna escape? How is he gonna be able to, he's a little kid trying to run away from gods. They could overpower him easily.
Yeah, but when his mom is there with a giant gun, I think he's fine. And then the planet starts blowing up like kryptonite. They hop in a little truck, and then we see the entire planet's falling apart. And we see that Lara, it was trying to make the ship larger so that they can save more people. But it already turns out they're saving this many, which is better than none. And this immediately brings into mind, so wait a second. You're telling me that there could be other Kryptonians?
There very well could be.
Could be.
Because it could be. I mean, there's that question. Could they repopulate on another planet? Who knows?
We'll see. So then Cal sees the planet blowing up. And then, okay, this is one of the greatest moments in the book. So in the present day, Clark is hunting Peacemaker, as you should, because that dude's an idiot. And I just love, you just see the cape surrounding him like it's a pod, and they're and I love how we're the tanks shoot him. It doesn't do anything. So he's like, how are we going to stop this guy? And then he just he just heat visions his way through the wall, and he's just standing there like a badass.
The thing is as well, the thing is when you look at the capes, the cape, like, one of the panels, the first panel you showed with the cape thing, it really looks cool. I'm definitely when I saw this, I was like thinking, okay, how I really think Superman's got it in for Peacemaker now. So we got, obviously I didn't read the rest of it until I continue on reading, but I definitely felt like Superman had got in for him, and I was definitely intrigued by it, and just seeing the artwork, brilliant artwork, each panel that was going on.
Yeah. But by the way, is Phil calling me an idiot?
I don't think so. No.
Look at the last comment.
Media coordinators top tier.
Just saying.
Okay.
So, he basically tears apart the Peacemakers, and they're trying to find Chris Smith, who is Chris Smith in the main continuity is like the Peacemaker that James Gunn used in his show, and it's because in the previous issue, Smith had like hurt civilians, and I just love it's like Cal's like heat visioning the dude, and then the AI actually tells him there's this thing called Brainiac that you have to find. So he takes off, and then what we learn is that the essentially the way this works is the ship is like formed spacesuits around people.
Okay.
And that's essentially like explains like the Superman suit that like he has. It's part of his ship, if you will. And Clark just is almost killed, but then he's saved by Krypto, who takes him home. And then, as we see, Krypton is destroyed. And what's actually really interesting here, what I like is the way Superman says. As I think back to that, I think there may have been some. I like to think that there were some people that were like trying to save each other, and instead of trying to jump over each other or kill each other and such. So I kind of like that, where the Superman still kind of has like that faith in the inherent goodness in people. That's really cool.
I was also gonna say that I wonder what happened to Kara Zor-El and General Zod and Nunn and those types of characters. Where were they at this destruction of Krypton?
Who knows? Maybe Zod was not on Krypton when this happens, as in the case of like Man of Steel.
Yeah, maybe.
I still say it's hilarious how the Absolute Universe is still like obviously taking heavy inspiration from the Snyderverse. Like a lot of the stuff in this, and I'm like, oh wow. Or maybe he's in the Phantom Zone, as Tevye points out.
Yeah, as Tevye says, welcome Tevye, by the way. He says, my theory, maybe Zod's in the Phantom Zone.
That works.
That would be cool if he is. If he's in the Phantom Zone, that'd be cool to see. Like for example, if they do a backstory for Zod in a future issue or something, you get to see from his perspective of how things were.
And to answer your question, Taladia, maybe this is Kara. Could be. Yeah, Phil, that's just what I noticed. Okay, bro? So that's just my own opinion. You can have a different opinion, but that's just my opinion. Anyway. So what's kind of cool about this, the ship is like hit by like Kryptonian debris. And what's really cool about it is the ship then breaks apart and forms like essentially smaller like spaceships around people, because here's what they change. And this is one of these moments where when I was reading this, I was like, oh, that is actually really cool. I like that. So what they do is the ships themselves are that AI thing. It's like a nanotech thing. Because we'll see. Do you mind if I spoil a plot point from the next issue real quick?
You can if you want.
All right. The ship, the ship crashes like usual, but the ship becomes part of his suit. So there's no like the Kents don't have to hide his pod, if you will.
Okay.
So it's all like nanotech, in other words. And I love Krypto. He has his own pod. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
I really wish Krypto was with Kal-El, though. I think that would have been, different.
Well, he could arrive later. Let's not forget about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sees like a lot of the ships get blown up, but his parents are still there. And then they apparently escape Krypton. And I got to say again, I've said this every issue of Absolute Superman. The coloring on this is top freaking notch.
Just the coloring and the backstory is very interesting for Superman. Very, very interesting compared to the mainline continuity. And just seeing how it's different to the mainline continuity. I really like this. Obviously, it's a different telling, but still has that effect of, you're feeling sorry for the character. You're wondering if the character's made it alive. You're wondering if, there's so many things that you feel for these characters. So that's what I got to give the Absolute Universe props for.
Mm-hmm. So then, so Kal escapes the ship. It looks like he's the only ship that escaped. I'm not convinced yet that was the only one. And he's like alone until he like reaches with, yes, Jason Aaron is a great writer when he applies himself. Then Superman lands with the ash cape, and I'm like, I that ash cape will never not be cool. Like, it every time I just love how that's like what he looks like when he lands. He's like a cloud, and I'm like, yes.
The thing for me, what really intrigued me about the cape was the fact that it reminded me of the previous panel that we just saw, where he picked up the thing from the floor, and I'm just like thinking, maybe it's because of that. That's what the suit recognized of him picking up a bit of Krypton. That's why he made a cape out of it.
It could.
Maybe.
It could. We'll find out about that, because apparently the next few issues are more on like the origin. So we'll find out about that. So that's the way it ends. And he's going back to Smallville.
Of home. Okay.
So what do you think of Absolute Superman 5? And the first arc of Absolute Superman?
Okay, so the first arc of Absolute Superman was brilliant. I gotta say, from start to finish, I definitely felt for Kal-El. Definitely felt like, you feel sorry for his family, for Kal-El's family, the House of El. Like you see the very hardworking Jor-El and Lara, how different they are for the mainline continuity and how hardworking they are. And the escape from Krypton, that was awesome to see. Just to see that, and how the thing makes a new ship. Oh wow, that's so cool. And I gotta say, Jason Aaron is a very good writer. I have to give this arc a solid 9.5 out of 10, just purely because of the writing, because of the artwork, because of how you feel for each character in this arc. And you also makes me feel that the next arc will be even more. It'll be one step up from this arc, and I have that feeling about this. So
yeah, it's one of the things that I think makes the Absolute Universe really stand out. Is that they can make these drastic changes to these characters, like origins and such. And that's the thing about this. That's the danger when trying to reinvent origins, because you run the risk of breaking the characters. I have yet to see them do that with any of the Absolute books, because for somehow it still feels like the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he still feels like Superman. Wonder Woman certainly actually feels like Wonder Woman, which is a surprise nowadays. And when we get to Batman, in a lot of ways, he doesn't feel like Batman, but that's interesting there. Are you ready
Let
to
me-
to switch over?
just quick thing. I was just gonna mention this. They fleshed out the origin in this, and I felt really, really thankful for
Oh, the
that. They
next
did it.
one does that as well.
Okay, cool. So let's switch over to Absolute Batman number 5. Now, guys, this is another really good issue. I gotta say, I read it, I enjoyed it. But anyway, let's go through this. And this is Absolute number 5. I gotta say, brilliant, brilliant cover.
Nick
Brilliant.
Dragotta cover. Dragotta's
Yeah.
back. We have a interesting thing. So what we're seeing here is for first off, we see another absolute version of a character, Dr. Leslie Tompkins. Hey,
A young Dr. Leslie Tompkins, by the way.
yeah, because Bruce is young, and this is again when he like encountered the bats and stuff. So he goes through that event, and then it's at his father's funeral, and then Bruce shows up on the bat bike, and essentially, so what we learned here, which is actually really cool, is that of course Gordon and Martha Wayne have a little bit of a friendship. He's like the mayor, and
Yes.
it's really, really dope how they like reinvent this. And then we have Gordon talking to Bruce and talking about how we're gonna catch the guy. It's the stuff that we he also says that they're gonna tear down that zoo that Bruce's class was visiting because of like what happened with the shooter. And then so Batman shows up, and the deal was he was going to make a deal with Black Mask, as we know from last issue. And oh god,
Yes.
the site is giving me issues again. For some reason, this damn comic site has been giving me severe issues.
But I like when I read the
I'll reload it.
panel. When I
Mhm.
read the panel, I thought it was interesting to see the dynamic between Martha and Jim Gordon. I'm like thinking, okay, it's nice to see, but also at the same time, does that mean that are they going to get closer in the future? Who knows? You see, because that's one thing I'm very curious about. Are Jim Gordon and Martha gonna, do something even more
Phil, I
adventure?
do buy comics. You can see my background. I'm only doing this so we can share the visuals to go over on the screen. That's why I buy $300 worth of comics a month. So dude, just back off. I'm sorry, Taladia, but he's really getting on my nerves right now. Anyway, continuing on. So Black Mask attempts to bribe Batman essentially. And Batman, of course, shines a giant ass bat signal that, I'm sorry, doesn't look like a bat. It looks like a rectangle, or like an oval rectangle thing.
The one thing that panel makes me it looks cool visually. It looks cool because for me personally, like he uses the cash as a bat signal. Now that's cool. If that doesn't say not cool, I don't know what does. But for me, it does.
That is like major Bruce Wayne. That's something Bruce would definitely do. And I love the way the what's the word, the I love the way the lighting is done here.
I really think as well. I really think that just looking at that, I'm just like thinking, yeah, this is Batman.
Yeah,
This is Batman.
that is such a Batman image. And then, of course, Batman shows up, and he basically just goes ham on these people. This is what I love about this. Is very, very, very brutal Batman, and I love it. Like, he is legit. He basically one of it's a site called Read Comics Online. So one of Black Mask's goons like jumps on Batman's back. So Batman basically spikes through his body, and I'm sorry, that guy's dead. Anyway, continuing on. And yeah, go ahead.
That thing that he just did, just like
yeah, like that. I'm like, oh, geez, that is so cool.
That brutal Batman. I was gonna title this stream the brutiest Batman we've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly.
It would have been nice to have something like that, but I said no because I can't really use that image as a as a on the thumbnail, so I couldn't do that. So
Yep. So then, then again, this whole issue is a massive like fight, and it's like apparently a few of the black mask snipers start firing on their own guys to like take out Batman. They try and launch nets, and they break Batman's arm, and of course Batman has contingency plans. He takes out his little spike things. Wait, does he? I'm trying to find that art. Well, anyway, he basically escapes because the tiny black mask kid wants to use a flamethrower on Batman, and luckily the suit is fireproof. Someone goes to kill Batman, and actually they try and whip out the axe to kill him themselves. That's what happens.
yeah,
And they throw him off the roof. And what's actually very handy is, of course, his cape turns into a parachute autonomously, apparently. And then he crashes into a car and is totally able to get back up, even though he just landed in a car in a tattered parachute.
He's Batman, so you expect that from Batman.
It doesn't make it any more BS. And then the cops show up and just minigun Batman. He runs, and he gets hit. He gets hit by Barbara Gordon, and then I like how she goes, "I will shoot," and then Batman goes, "Just do it then." And then essentially Barbara Gordon lets him escape, possibly setting up absolute Batgirl. No, he can't, Phil. From the distance that he fell, there's no reinforced suit that could possibly explain this. Yeah, like, I'm sorry, from this distance, that's not survivable. But it's a comic book, so I'll let it slide.
It's fictional characters.
Yeah,
remember that, Jared?
I know. And then essentially Martha, why did you say that name? And Gordon actually are end up tracking Black Mass weapon shipments alongside Alfred. Well, not alongside, but you know what I mean. And then Batman's in the absolute Batcave. He's doing all of his stitches. And then Alfred just leaves because he's like, I'm done with this. And then Martha and Gordon are like accosted by street toughs, by like gang members. And that's Absolute Batman #5. Not a bad first arc.
Scott Snyder did a really good job writing this, and I think Nick Dragotta also did some great artwork in this issue. Personally, for me, I really liked the fight scene between Black Masked Men and Batman. For me personally, I think this is the most brutalist Batman I've seen. Like, I've never seen it. I've never read The Dark Knight The Dark Knight Returns. Like,
You've never read Dark Knight Returns?
Like, in a comic book form, no, I've never read it. Like, you know how I've got like the Kingdom Come book. I don't have I don't have a physical copy of that. Good. But I definitely want to pick that up that's something I definitely want to own, is a physical copy of that, because I think does this match up to that? In some ways it does, in terms of how brutal he is. Like, he's like in The Dark Knight Returns, Batman looks yeah, Phil. The Absolute Batman does make The Dark Knight Returns Batman look tame. Definitely.
Yeah, he does. He really. The minute you flex and spike someone, basically skewer someone, I'm like, yeah.
I mean,
it's not bad or anything like that. It's badass. I loved it.
When he broke somebody's arm, like, I'm just like, are you kidding me? That's why I was like saying, should I have titled this The Brutalist Batman? And I'm just like thinking, no, because then it's not going to be, it won't be PG thing. So I couldn't do that. I really wanted to, though. But everything, though, was really good from start to finish. The artwork, the storytelling, the way that Batman escapes, like, it's very Batman-like. And I'm very much intrigued to read the next issue. I know Mr. Freeze is on the way. I know that because Scott Snyder has been talking about that on social media non-stop. He's been talking about Absolute Batman #6, He's been talking about the next arc, whatnot. And I gotta say, this arc, so like the first arc of Absolute Batman's another brilliant arc to another brilliant arc, to thing. Yeah, yeah. What I meant to say, he's talking about the next arc though, Phil. Like so that's what I meant to say. But oh, you get your next issue. You get your issue next week. Awesome, Phil. Awesome. But yeah, honestly though, guys, like I really love having talking about the absolute books because it brings me to talk about comics because I really am interested to know more about different character, different, you know, different origins for these characters, and I really dig it. The Absolute Batman book, if I have to rate it out of 10, I think it's another 9.5 for the first arc, for sure.
In terms of the first arc, yeah, I'd give it around that.
Yeah. So definitely recommend people picking up um the the books. If they get the what's it called? Was it the omnibus, Jared, or is it the trade paperback comes out first?
Trade.
Okay, so I would recommend people getting the trade paperback for the first arc because that's
Yep,
what I'm gonna do.
absolutely.
Phil says 100 out of 10. Absolute Batman, the Zoo, pretty much sauce. Okay, pretty saucy. Okay, I see what you did there, Phil. That's awesome. For me, for like I said, I love these books. I'm very much I'm interested to talk about Absolute Flash and Absolute Martian Manhunter because that's something I'm going to be talking about in a couple of weeks' time. So there's that too. But yeah, I've been enjoying. I, I really think, guys, you guys should pick up the Absolute books. Pick them up if you haven't picked them up yet. Pick them up. Get them from your local comic book store. Start reading them because
Yep.
it's very very much intriguing. Jai, what
Yeah.
would you rate? What would you rate the first arc?
9.5 out of 10. It's the action solid. Again, the reinvention that the Absolute has been doing with this is actually really interesting, and the way that they reinvent characters and the way they do it so well, because again, whenever I talk about Absolute Wonder Woman, one of the things I talk about is that, okay, by all accounts, it shouldn't work as well as it did. The way that the story is set up, it shouldn't work,
Yeah,
yet it does somehow. And it's the same thing when it comes to Absolute Batman or Absolute Superman.
I definitely think though, like I'm definitely interested in Absolute Wonder Woman. Definitely want to know more about her finishing her back origin story. That's something I'm definitely invested in. But I had to kick off the world's finest. Obviously, I said,
Oh,
the
yeah.
the first stream back from on coming from a hiatus. The first stream for Snyder Fans Read Comics should be Absolute Batman and Absolute Superman. Those are the two comics I should cover because I think the fans need it. The fans needed me to cover something like this, and I just said
Mm-hmm.
yes, 110%. I know that we're a little bit behind in terms of with the people that are releasing the books right now. I know we're a little bit behind, but that's worth it because that gives you guys the time to read it and gives you time to give your thoughts and opinions on Absolute Batman or Absolute Superman or Absolute Wonder Woman. Gives you guys your thoughts and your opinions. You can gather them together and put them in the comment section or even in the chat because that way you guys have a conversation with me as well. So honestly, guys, this was like a good first half of the stream to have a conversation about Absolute Batman and Absolute Superman, definitely. But Jared, I want to talk about something else, right? I think this
Yeah,
is
what's up?
something. So let's talk about a different topic because I think we've talked about Absolute Batman and Absolute Superman for the first portion of the stream, which I thought was amazing to have a conversation about. But Jared, I gotta ask you about any future books. Like we've obviously know about Absolute Flash and Absolute Martian Manhunter. About those two books, which one? Sorry, and Absolute Green Lantern. Out of those books, which one are you more excited about?
Well, I'm a Green Lantern fan, so obviously I'm going to be more like it goes into Green Lantern, Flash, Martian Manhunter. I read Martian Manhunter. It's pretty trippy and actually really good. I haven't read
Okay.
Flash and I haven't read Green Lantern, but from all accounts, they're actually pretty good. So I'm really excited. All the Absolute books have been like firing on all cylinders. It's awesome.
What I find interesting as well is that I'm just seeing, like, I've seen the top 10 list. The absolute books are there.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely, I'm just like saying, brilliant to see DC, you know, get
Well,
their.
DC destroyed Marvel in terms of the top 10 list for March.
That is true, but also it's brilliant to see DC get their books in the top 10, and
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
in terms.
Consistently, all the Absolute books have been in the top 10, and I'm like, yes.
But what I mean is that to see the Trinity up, to see like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, to see Flash as well get in the mix as well,
Mm-hmm.
and Martian Manhunter, is like, yes, that's what DC needs right now, is to see their characters in the top 10 list for the comics of the week, right? That's what they need to do, and that's what they need to focus on. And I gotta give credit where credit's due, which is Scott Snyder, the brainchild for the absolute universe.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, he's taking his time with this stuff. He's not rushing it.
That's
He's
what you
not
gotta
saying,
do.
he's just got to take your time with things and don't need to rush things, because these types of books don't need to be rushed. So you're taking your time with it, it will work out in your favor, and it has done so far. And I got to give credit. So
Mm-hmm.
and Chubby Teddy, how you doing, my dude? He says, "Oh yeah, the CEO of Greatness, Deladia. Yes, I'm
Oh,
back.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm back." So honestly, guys, I'm very much grateful for having conversations about this, because I never thought I would talk about comics like this. To give you guys my excitement for the absolute books,
Mm-hmm.
because I thought maybe I won't talk about the absolute books, but hey, I enjoyed it. I gave it a chance, and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jared, with Superman week coming next week, do you think we're gonna get absolute the absolute books will have like some Superman Day inspirations?
Um, I know there are supposed to be like exclusive, like special, like trade covers. Like they're gonna do a re-release of Superman Unchained with a new cover. I think All Seasons as well. It's either All Seasons or All Star. It's one of those two. I'm pretty sure it's All Star, as a matter of fact. And they'll
Okay.
have like special variant covers for that. I'm not sure if they'll do anything for Absolute Superman. Depends on what day Absolute Superman launches. They could,
Abs-
but I don't know.
I mean, I don't know when the next absolute Superman launches, but I do know one thing though. Because with Superman Day literally right around the corner, I know a lot of people are going to be asking artists, could you do this cover and put it on the absolute books, or take it with other comics? I
Mhm.
would like to see a Dan Mora cover for the absolute book. I think
They
that
are
would.
doing covers where like all the other Justice Leaguers have like Superman inspired costumes, like Wonder Woman, Batman, and
Yeah,
Super and like Green Lantern. They all have the S on there.
yeah. And to answer your question, Naji, because I know Naji's got a question for me.
Mm-hmm.
Are you happy for the upcoming new Superman movie? Do you think we got new stuff? Possible. I'm excited for the Superman movie. I'm definitely gonna be checking it out, and I'm definitely gonna be covering that on Superman
Yeah.
Day. Definitely gonna be like, if there's any footage, any
They'll
trailers or whatnot,
probably release a trailer on that point, and then it's like, okay, I'll check that out.
I'll definitely give it a shot and give a reaction to it. And Phil says Dan Mara is a goat. Yes, he is,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a person I definitely want to get on the channel one of these days, just to have a conversation, just to talk to him about Superman and Batman, what really inspired him for the world's finest book that he did
Mm-hmm.
recently. Was it the world's finest book?
He
Was
did
it?
the world's finest book with Mark Waid.
Yeah, I want to talk to him about that, because I really want to know what his brain thought was when it came down to designing Batman, like the emblem wise, and what was the brain thought when he did the Kingdom Come stuff, because I definitely want to have a conversation about that. So Phil says, I think the trailer will come before Superman Day. You think so, Phil? If it does come before that, great. If not, and it comes on Superman Day, it's still exciting, Phil, because Superman Week. I classify Superman Day as Superman Week because it's just literally the week of
It's a
Superman.
national holiday, baby.
It's a national holiday, yeah. I know that DC Universe Online is going to be doing something as well for Superman, as Superman related, and that you get to have a free crypto superdog in DC Universe Online as an ally. So just a tidbit for you there. Um, I'm just curious though of like how many artists are going to be doing different things for the comics and whatnot. So it's very much exciting times. Superman Day is right round the corner, guys. So I'm definitely excited for that. We've got a couple of comments. Naji is saying, I hope one day we can get a good Superman video game and another DC Comics Heroes.
We'll
Yes, I
see.
agree. I agree. Given that film of a new release, it could land on a Monday or a Tuesday. Thursdays at the absolute latest. Okay, I understand, Phil, and definitely, definitely, I'll keep an eye out because if it drops on a Monday or Tuesday, oh my god, oh my god, there's gonna be a busy schedule for me. Um, but yeah, and if you guys want to put any question and answers to ask me and Jared about the absolute books, about the issue that we talked about today, feel free to put questions in the chat. We will answer those questions now because it's that part of the stream where we have conversation with you guys in the chat to have a conversation about the absolute books, about the absolute Superman, absolute Batman. If you even if we talked about previous issues, you can ask us about those as well. I allow that because this is my channel. So yeah, and Jared, I gotta say, it's been really cool just to cover this with you.
Yeah.
Phil says absolute Batman is the source. I have no questions.
No, there you go.
Of course, Phil, you will say something like that. Of course, you said that it is. What I find interesting about the absolute Batman book, though, compared to the normal Batman books, is just the dynamic that Alfred and Bruce have in this universe. It's completely different to the mainline continuity when Bruce had Alfred.
It's a
Completely
little
different.
more. It's a little more similar to Earth One because in Earth One, Alfred was like a former soldier that trained Bruce, and it looks like
Yeah.
they're kind of going in that direction, but to a more extreme degree.
Do you think in time they'll change the emblem? Like, they'll say, okay,
I
we'll
don't
need
think so. I don't think so. Nor should they. It because that's become like the symbol of the absolute universe in a way.
Okay. And for Absolute Superman, I would love for him to, to get a disguise. At least we get a disguise for him, like
They'll
with the
probably do
glasses.
Clark Kent, but I don't think they need to do like the glasses in Clark Kent because here's why.
Right.
Let this be different. Maybe he doesn't need a secret identity. This particular Superman. Let's have one that doesn't have a secret identity.
But isn't the whole point of Superman he does have a disguise?
Nope, that's not the whole point of Superman.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, if they want to make it like truly different from the main universe, that this is a way that they could do it.
Okay. Okay, but definitely, I'm definitely intrigued and invested in this. I do wonder though, what Absolute Wonder Woman will be like in terms of her future. Like, is her future going to be grim, or is it going to be like, oh, happy, wonderful, go lucky type of thing where, she does get to see the Amazonians in a
They
future.
probably will.
Because obviously I haven't read issue number 5 as of yet, but I'm definitely invested just to know these types of things because I really am invested in these characters, especially the Absolute books.
Yep,
because I feel for these characters. I definitely feel for Wonder Woman. I feel for Superman. I feel for Batman, and I just really wish that they get together soon. Najit's asking a question. Says, which book should I start out with the Absolute series from DC Comics, and which issues because interested and really like your talk on the series for the characters.
Number one on any of the characters. Just pick one and go on with it.
Yeah, just pick one absolute number ones for each
Luckily,
of
if
the.
you do it now, you only have like 5 issues to get caught up on, and that's it. Of pretty much each. I mean, some of them have gone beyond 5 issues, but the point is you have sub 10 issues to get caught up on. So it's not really that big of a thing as opposed to say, how do I get started on main continuity Batman?
It's it's definitely. I'd say pick up absolute Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman number one. Get started now before you kind of fall behind and everybody else. Phil says I'll get the other absolute books at some point to be in trade paperback. Okay,
Yep, there you go. That works.
Bat-
That works.
Batman is the only one I'm getting monthly. Okay,
Understood.
okay, that makes sense, Phil, for you because I know you're a huge Batman fan. So I kind of figured you picked that up at some point. For me personally, I picked up number one, but then I'm gonna get trade paperbacks for the for every other book. That's what I'm doing. It's gonna get trade paperbacks for Superman, the rest of Superman, rest of Batman, rest of Wonder Woman, and I'm definitely gonna do trade paperback for Green Lantern, Flash, and Martian Manhunter. Definitely going to do that because it's no point of me just going number ones of each
Mm-hmm.
and then spending a lot of money on that. I might as well wait until the trade paperback comes out and then invest myself in full blown for that. Um, but yeah, this is just like, guys, honestly, this has been like a fun little stream that I thought to put together. I know it's a little bit shorter,
It's good to
but
be back.
it's good to be back. Now, before we wrap up, I do want to announce this is that we won't be doing a Snyder Fans Read Comics next week because it clashes with what I've got coming up next week. But the week after, I'm going to be doing Absolute Flash and Absolute Green Lantern. And I'll be doing it with Robert because I'll have to explain to Jared what the reason is, but behind the scenes. But I'll be doing that with Robert Willing. And he and I had a conversation. He's like, I want to talk about Green Lantern and sorry, Absolute Flash and Absolute Martian Manhunter with you. He says,
Mm-hmm.
I said to him, okay, we'll do that. No problem. No issue. We'll set a date and time. And he agreed to it. So we're going to have a conversation about Absolute Flash and Absolute Martian Manhunter just to have that conversation with him. And it'd be like every once a week. So like once a week I do stuff with Jared, once a week I do with Robert. So it'll be like it'll be switching in and out, guys.
That
So
works.
that'll be the thing to do. And honestly, it'd be great things are coming for the channel. And just a reminder as well, next Wednesday is a podcast episode, and it's going to be a recording. It'll be going up on Thursday. Yes, on Thursday it'll be going up, but the recording will be on Wednesday. And I'm having Luke Bug, the Geek of Steel, on the channel, as we're going to be talking everything up. We're going to be talking about everything Superman related, from James Gunn's Superman to Superman, the character himself. And I would love for the character, like we'll be talking about all these everything Superman in that podcast for a good 30 to 40 minutes. And then obviously when the trailer drops, there'll be a reaction for that next week. That's for sure going to be happening. Jared, where can I find you? What you got coming up on your channel?
Sweet. So you can find me at Comics League. I just released Wonder Woman Wednesday, where I talked about essentially how to make a good Wonder Woman Elseworld story. Then we also have the current episode of Super Wonder Legacy, where Britt and I talk about our favorite Wonder Woman comics. And this week on movie night, I'm gonna get with you to pick a movie, as a matter of fact. And then for Under Two Capes, I'm having comic book editor Aaron Sparrow on my show to talk about stuff. Then obviously I'll be on Weird Science. And besides that, yeah, that's about all I got.
Okay, guys. So I hope you have enjoyed tonight's stream. I know it's a little bit shorter than usual, but hey, I got a lot of things I got to get planning ahead of schedule because there's a lot of work I got to get done behind the scenes. But hope you have enjoyed. Make sure you like, comment, favorite, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell because when a video or a live stream that I do, you will be notified. and share the stream with your friends. Let them know what I'm doing on my channel. Let them know that Taladia is doing great stuff on when it comes down to comics and whatnot. And we'll be sure to see you in a couple of weeks' time, where I have Robert and myself to talk about Absolute Green Lantern, so Absolute Flash and Absolute Martian Manhunter with you guys. So until then, stay safe out there. We'll see you next time.